is be willing to learn and fight back. Because if we all work together and battle cyber criminals, we can certainly win. If it's just left up to a few people or a few companies, it'll be a losing race because they're always using technology to their advantage. So we have to work together and we have to use technology to beat cyber criminals.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Engati CX. I am your host Rahul, and we have somebody special over here right now. And let's welcome him. But before that, let's begin with a quick introduction of what Engati is. Engati is the world's leading multilingual no-code chatbot platform available across 14 channels with 30,000 bots created across 186 countries and in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as a top platform by Inc.com, TechWorld, CIO, and many others. We run the Engati blog, video channel, and of course the Engati CX podcast, receiving upwards of 300,000 visitors annually. Now for our amazing guest today, Scott and Schober is the president and CEO of Berkley Varitronics Systems, that is BVS, a 40-year-old New Jersey-based privately held company and leading provider of advanced world-class wireless test and security solutions. Schober also invented BVS's cell phone detection tools used to enforce a no cell phone policy in prisons and secure government facilities. Scott is a highly sought-after subject expert on the topic of cybersecurity. Scott, welcome to the show. Such an honor to have you on board today.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. But before we dive into all that awesomeness here, there's a quick announcement for all your viewers, all our viewers over here. We have something really special for all of you. So stick around till the end of the interview and you will find out what. Scott, are you ready to dive in?
Ready to dive in. Let's go.
All right. So shooting the first question to you is, with the ongoing pandemic, right? What do you believe will be the new normal for the world of digital, and how are wireless technologies going to define the new normal as such?
It's a great question. I think both employers and employees kind of need to rethink the way that business is conducted. And I think it's important that they're willing to grasp and learn new tools and technology, because technology is really driving where we are now and where we're going in the digital future. And especially amid this pandemic that we're having with the coronavirus, many people globally are really working from home and learning how to work from home. So I think having that flexibility and be willing to try new technologies, being early adopters to it and adapting to it will allow them to gain productivity. It'll allow them to better communicate. It'll allow them to better share ideas, share data. All of that is kind of the future of the digital workforce, the way I view it. So I think it's important that they start to embrace these things. If they're so used to, a lot of people are used to going on and creating a document in Microsoft Word or Excel for the past 10 years maybe. Well, that's okay. But the future is really, I think, about using different types of applications and technologies in that digital workspace to be effective, to allow the company to appreciate a better bottom line. And I was thinking about certainly chatting applications, I think, are very important. Mm-hmm. It used to be maybe you'd walk down the hall and you'd stop by somebody's office, you share a document, a physical piece of paper, say, hey, what do you think about this? And you can collaborate a little bit. Mm-hmm. Well, now we might pull out our smartphone. And we'll be at home working. Somebody else may be in the office, or they may be at home, or maybe on the other side of the world, chatting and sharing a picture, sharing a sound file, a snippet of something. That will allow us all to be more productive. So I think certainly some of those things. I think one that's kind of popular is Slack chat, a popular app that a lot of people are starting to adopt and learn about and use, where they can collaborate amongst team members. That's really important. I think you touched on a little bit about some of the chatbots and things like that, where you can now go onto a website and you can actually get information, and it's not necessarily a human at the other end, but I tell you what, it can be just as efficient as things have advanced because of the combination of AI and machine learning. So the back-end processing power makes it amazing. I mean, I've had conversations with bots and they answer questions. They can guide you. Just like in the past, I would always gravitate toward maybe a YouTube video to get answers toward things. Now we can start to see the future a little bit more, how chatbots are evolving. And they look, they sound, and deliver much better in some ways than certain humans that aren't up to speed and don't have enough training. There's always going to be humans behind the scenes, in my opinion, to support this growth in the digital workspace and technology. But I think as technology advances, we need to embrace it as business owners. I know I certainly do. It takes time, it takes money, it takes commitment. But the early adopters, they're going to really see a profound effect, how it will help their businesses grow. Maybe to add to one thing, it's a standout, it's obvious, the platform that we're on now. You look at any type of video conferencing, Zoom, Skype for Business, and everybody's got their own GoToMeetings and WebEx and so on and so forth. I think some companies have to be careful not to be locked into only one platform for video conferencing. I've learned myself and my company, we have to be open because some of our key customers are not using Zoom. They may be locked into whatever the platform, maybe it's Skype or something else. So having that flexibility and the discipline so your team can adjust to your customer base, to your clients, is very important. And that you can learn the packages, the applications, and get the most out of it. I think that's key. Obviously, file sharing in the digital workspace. We've got our Dropboxes, our Google Drive. I use Apple Drop for my Apple product. Having familiarity with the workforce to be able to share documents, especially amid this pandemic, I think that's pivotal for businesses. The old way of doing things just doesn't always work. So especially when you're handling large files, like we do a lot of video.
Right.
Having that capability to jump onto a Dropbox or something else and get the file there immediately, quickly, that's going to be important, I think, for businesses to not just survive, but to really thrive in this new digital economy.
That's correct. That's what we have the conversation with most of the people we know in the business side of things, is that the entire procedure, the whole process, the whole backbone of business has shifted. And I think this has been happening since the past couple of years, but I think with the pandemic, it has got a sudden boost. And I think people are actually, taking over that. But Scott, the problem is a lot of these people, yes, technology helps us a lot, but is equally as dangerous also, with a lot of threats. So my second question to you towards will be, it's a fact that cyber warfare will grow with growing digital transformation. So how can businesses start planning for it? What are your advices towards that?
Well, I'm always a big proponent of training and getting people up to speed, not waiting until there's a problem. If there's a breach or someone gets hit with ransomware or whatever the case may be, and you're trying to respond then, it's kind of too late. However, if you implement best practices, and when I say implement best practices, I'm not saying to your IT staff or your security guys. I'm talking janitor to CEO. Everyone in between needs to think and have a cyber mindset and maintain a level of cyber hygiene, let's call it. So they understand what is good password management. Are they using a good password manager? What is a strong password? Do they reuse passwords? If they do they understand the dangers of it? How do they handle security challenge questions? Are they using two-factor authentication? So again, it's really having a good cybersecurity mindset within the organization. Once they have that and understand the best practices, then they'll actually be aware if it's a phishing email that comes through. They're going to stop. They're not going to be too quick to click on it, which may dispense malware or ransomware strain or something like that. They'll understand the importance of why should you back up your data on a regular basis. So again, it's that common sense mentality that will help an organization stay protected. That in turn, I think, as cyber warfare starts to come out, let's take a case in point. Maybe a company's in the pharmaceutical industry. Maybe they're trying to develop something to combat the coronavirus, which is, we're reading all about this. Many different pharmaceutical companies are chasing the silver bullet. Right. What does that mean? That means there's countries And there's cyber warfare that are targeting these pharmaceutical industries to what? Steal intellectual property. So if the entire organization is already implementing best practices, encrypting data and keeping things stored safely, backing up, and are extra careful, it's unlikely that any information will be divulged or compromised there through some type of cyber terrorism, cyber warfare, or things like that. So I think it's imperative for all organizations to sit down, write down what are your assets, what are the valuable things that you need to protect within the organization, and then find out what's the best way to now approach it so you can minimize your cyber risks.
That's correct. Scott, it was amazing how you pointed out. So let me just reiterate what you're trying to tell me. So what you're trying to say is that it's not just the change in equipment or software, but the entire change in mindset, how we approach things, right?
Yeah, well said. It is a mindset issue, I think.
Right.
It's not just technology. A lot of times we're so focused on the technology is the silver bullet to solve whatever the problem is. But it's the mind of people adjusting to work parallel with the technology. That can be a powerful combination.
Correct. And it's also overwhelming, right? When we think about the future, I mean, there's so many things that are coming through and we are all so excited. So here's my next question, out of curiosity as a child, that when I think about technologies, like 5G, like how are these 5G smart city, like wireless technology, how are these going to be, things that will change the way businesses function, and what other amazing trends that we'll get to see in the future?
Yeah, I'm personally very excited about 5G. Right now, and our company, really the backbone of our company, Berkley Varitronics Systems, for decades, we've been building wireless test tools. So we understand what makes phones work. These test tools are used to do propagation analysis, understand where do you put the base stations, how far signals propagate, what the attenuation is, all the technical radio frequency characteristics. That's our area of expertise. So when we see a large leap from our 4G, fourth generation LTE technologies, which is really becoming more of a global accepted standard, to 5G, which will be a truly global accepted standard that will allow for high speed. When we talk about high speed, we're not talking about double the speed. There's estimates of 100 times faster in certain cases. Wow. It's not just all about speed. It's also about latency. So when you think about that, it's very important, especially in certain realms of business, when you're trying to do things that are heavy crunching, like a supercomputer, and we're talking about artificial intelligence, when we're talking about advanced gaming, augmented reality, machine learning, having the ability to turn your smartphone on and look at it or click or say something, and instantly a video pops up. And I think more importantly, has the ability to now interact with other IoT, Internet of Things connected devices. So seamlessly, we'll have the ability where we could walk into a building, for example, or our office, and maybe it's our smartphone, we'll be able to interconnect and communicate with other things. Wow. Be it turn the coffee pot on, turn the lights on, start your computer up, authenticate you. A lot of amazing things. Some are very simple things that may not be that useful, but other things, I think, where data is shared between interconnected devices in the world of IoT, extremely powerful. And that's where I get very excited. I do want to add, too, the other part of my excitement is not just 5G alone. It's 5G coupled with Wi-Fi 6, the next standard for Wi-Fi. And I think that's very important. A lot of people are not talking about that or haven't even heard of it yet. But Wi-Fi 6 is really the next, it's kind of a groundbreaking technology where Wi-Fi is taken to the next limit. If you think about it, the problem right now is what? You've got 4G proliferation everywhere, and there's so many people using their smartphones. Right. Billions of people sending data, pictures, video, content, big data. The network can't handle it. So they're offshooting a lot of it to just traditional Wi-Fi. Now with Wi-Fi 6 and 5G technologies, it's going to be powerful because it could handle that capacity much more. And basically, you can have a lot more users on at the same time you have that lower latency and improved speed. To me, it's a win-win-win when all of this is actually out there. It will take a few years. They're still in trials. They're working out things. There are some gotchas with the higher frequencies, but they're making great progress. We're selling a lot of tools that are used at this initial build-out phase. And I think it's important to realize, too, that we can't leave out of the conversation the cybersecurity. There's still going to be vulnerabilities. There's going to be risks. Now is the time they got to work out the kinks to make sure that it is secure before mass adoption happens. Otherwise, we're going to have a big, big nightmare.
Yeah, that's true. But all these technologies, I'm getting so excited. Finally, the Iron Man movies are going to come to life.
Absolutely, yeah. Good analogy.
But Scott, still most traditional companies are still very hesitant to adopt automation. So what, according to you, can bring a change in their thinking and, take a leap towards the future?
I think, at least as a business owner, and we're designing products, so we're a design company, but we're also a production company. And I'm always analyzing how long does it take from the standpoint of a concept, an idea, to turn to a finished product, to be something that can be taken to production. So that, in my mind, I'm always thinking about how do I improve efficiencies, which indirectly affect your bottom line. So it's important as a business owner to look at these things and be realistic about it. As processes improve in technology and communication, and especially wireless, I think if you harness the right areas, you have people that are the strength of a company supporting these automated processes, you see great results. And I'll give you a case in point. We've had a machine shop in our company for years. Great machinists that could make pretty much any part. It took time. They could build one of anything. It would be a Rembrandt. It would be beautiful. Trying to reproduce that and now take the kinks out so it could be manufactured efficiently can take time. So a number of years ago, I invested in some CNC. So it's computer-controlled milling machines. So we could take a piece of plastic, Delrin, aluminum, whatever, hog it out and make a prototype, just like 3D printers, but the opposite side. So as we started to invest in this technology and the training, and our machinists got more and more educated, I realized, wow, this affects your bottom line greatly. And if you automate the process, you can produce 10 times more parts, and you could do it internally, save time, produce more parts. So what did I do? I built upon that model. I bought a second, higher, more efficient CNC milling machine, hired another expert machinist that could actually run the machine. Now I'm going to probably do the same thing with a third machine. So you build and automate the process, but involved in that is wireless, 3D modeling, a rapid prototyping, production. So you can make things much, much quicker. Again, focusing on technology, training the human side of things so they could think, how do I produce this part more productive? What does it allow us to do? It allows us to do everything under one roof. We're not outsourcing to China or to other parts of the world, and allows us to be very efficient. And ultimately, we're delivering a better security solution or a better wireless test solution to our customers. That, to me, is what's important.
Very well said, Scott. This is, and especially with the growing competition, it's very important that you kind of like scale up on every single aspect of the business too. So in that case, the reason why we do what we do with chatbots and conversational agents is it saves you so much time and so many resources, right? And all these repetitive questions could be answered. So in that, continuing to that, what is the future of conversational agents to you, and what role will these voice recognition technology and chatbots play when it comes to all of this?
Well, I'm pretty pumped up about it because I see now a breaking point where voice recognition, chatbots, video assistants, the Alexas of the world, the Google Home, all these different ones, they're now a lot smarter. At least the perception of it is. So that, what does that mean? It means the average person now accepts it. My parents, they're retired, but they're using a digital assistant, which I found kind of interesting. Years ago, if you ever asked them, would you ever consider that? They'd say, no way. Why would I ever need that? But now they want to hear their favorite tune. They want to get the weather. They want to listen to an audio podcast. They have a question. They want something defined for them. Isn't it interesting that different generations are now adopting the technology? Why? Because the technology's gotten better. It used to be the days when you would get these stupid things where maybe you'd call your bank or something else and it was automated. And it'd say, sorry, Scott, I didn't understand that. Can you repeat? Are you trying to take out the garbage? I'm saying, no, I want to find out if this check was cashed. It was frustrating. It drove me nuts. It's gotten much better because of, again, the underlying technology. So I encourage consumers, business owners, try it. Give it a try. If you were frustrated with a chatbot in the past, you said it wasn't that good, it's much better now. It's much more useful and valuable now. Voice recognition, it works better. It understands the ums and the hesitations, the word whiskers that we have as humans that are really part or integral to our speech. It adapts to that. It learns from that. They sample millions of conversations to make the technology better, and it's working. The days of Siri, we would talk and joke and all the things and the mistakes it would say, it's improved greatly. My kids love it. We use it. We do things and we do tests all the time with different digital assistants, trying to talk to digital assistants and interpret it. So I tell people, embrace the technology, use it for what it is now, because it's going to get a lot better in the not too distant future. And I think that will help all of us grow our business, enjoy life more using these technologies for good reasons, not for bad reasons. And it'll make the digital experience just better across the board.
Yep. And what I would like to add, Scott, is that along with being better, we at Engati have tried to make it more human-centric. For example, that's one of the most important aspects of technology, is that it has to be making you comfortable as a human being. So it's not like once you enter a chatbot, it's like, hey, user number 9357, how are you doing? It's like if you are coming through, we just say like, hey, Scott, how are you feeling today? How are you doing? How can I help you? That's a more human-centric. And I think even towards the future, we are moving towards a more humanized technology. So what are your thoughts about making it a human-centric?
Oh, I think that's really key. That's pivotal for getting really the mass adoption. And to your point, human-centric is what's going to appeal to us as people with our emotions. When we go to the doctor's office, maybe it's our local doctor's office, we don't go there just to get treatment. Sometimes we want to express our problems, talk about it, and have an interaction. Like, as you mentioned, a chatbot, if it's only a number and a name and it's a cold response, you're going to distance yourself from it. If it says, hey, Scott, welcome back. I missed you since last Thursday. See, you have nice weather in New Jersey today. Hope you're doing well. You suddenly say, okay, this is not a robot. This is not just pre-programmed. It's got some machine learning. It's got some intelligence that it relates to me and remembers me from a past.
Exactly.
It's just like going to our local coffee shop. You walk in, everybody knows you, or your pizza shop or donut shop, and you have that personal connection, that human-centric aspect of a chatbot, I think is a game changer. And I think once people experience it and try it, then they're going to say, wow, this is actually useful. And this actually helps my business, helps grow, and it supports maybe my customer support staff that's already there, that I can feed information, and maybe the frequently asked questions or problems that my customers are experiencing, I can harness that power through a chatbot and develop a relationship. And it's all about that. You improve your relationships with your customers using technology, using chatbots, using voice recognition, you're going to grow your business. And I think that's what business owners, don't be so old school when you think about, that can't help. I got to have a person that has to solve this. People can be behind the process, but using technology and working together, collaborative, that's the most powerful thing going forward in this digital future.
Exactly. And, Scott, I'd like to share one of these stories, right? So the other day, it was a Saturday evening. I think I was sitting with my father and just having a casual conversation about life. Me as a growing boy now, a man now. So we have these conversations. And, there's one powerful statement that my father stated, that at the end of it all, a human just wants to be in a local coffee shop, right? Being loved by everybody, being known by everybody. And I think that's one of the most important aspects. Right? And especially at times like these, when it's all dark and it's all scary out there, 2 words of comfort will actually make you feel better and even probably have potential customers onto your business.
Yeah.
That's one important.
I do think that's powerful. And to your point, I think with the world the way it is at the moment with this pandemic, and I'm optimistic we're going to come out of it, but there are a lot of people that have isolated themselves, that are lonely, that are depressed. I've encouraged people, I've done it myself, even outside of the work. I'm on Zoom 6 to 8 times throughout the week, and Skype and this and that and everything else for video conferencing and chatting and this and that, using different apps. However, I still try to take time to do a family session and connect my family, my relatives in once a week, where we all jump on, sit back, joke, laugh. The kids are running around, the dog's in the background, have fun, and you're still spending time with your family. Because really at the heart of everything, if you don't have a strong family value, it's hard to take that into your business. We're a family business. So it's tied into the culture, into the glue that holds us together. So I encourage people to do that. Take some time, maybe this weekend or whenever you have a chance, reach out to a couple of your relatives, create a Zoom account if you don't have it, send a link out and just sit back and chat a little bit, talk a little bit, or use some of the different chatting applications, just so you can keep the conversations going as we are social distancing and isolating ourselves. That will keep you with a more positive mindset. And if you help somebody else, it helps yourself. It's a natural win. So try to be positive and find somebody that maybe is a little down, build them up, make them feel better. You'll feel better about yourself.
Right. That was a beautiful message there. And I'm sure our audiences are in desperate need of that at the moment also. So this was great, Scott. So many amazing conversations. I have personally never heard about Wi-Fi, the next generation of Wi-Fi. Yeah. And I'm pretty amped about it. I'm sure the audiences will be. So concluding, any last message or soundbite that you would like to leave with our audiences? Any idea that you would like to leave with our audience?
Well, I think a lot of my focus running a company is developing wireless security tools. I'm out to fight the bad guy 24/7. It's a tough battle. We're not going to give up. The cyber landscape keeps changing and evolving. I think cyber criminals are now using the COVID crisis, the pandemic, to try to steal information, be it intellectual property, to get us to compromise, to scam us out of our money. I can assure you we're going to do our best to continue to fight the battle, but just ask people to be patient, to concentrate on using these best practices, be willing to learn and fight back. Because if we all work together and battle cyber criminals, we can certainly win. If it's just left up to a few people or a few companies, it'll be a losing race because they're always using technology to their advantage. So we have to work together and we have to use technology to beat cyber criminals. So I just encourage everybody, stay safe out there from the pandemic side and in the world of cybersecurity.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Scott, right here for you. Thank you so much, Scott, for giving us your time.
Thank you.
Your insights were amazingly valuable, and I am pretty sure our audience are going to love it. And as we mentioned before starting the interview, that you'll have something special at the end. So, man of my word. So if you've stuck around for this long, we're so excited to announce that our ebook, The Evolution of Customer Experience, is out and available to download completely for free. So check out the link in the description and you will find it right there. And we'll be back with a new episode with a brand new expert soon. So stay tuned and we'll see you around for the next one. Thank you so much, Scott.
Oh, thank you.